Good evening and welcome to the August 27, 2024 regular meeting of the Gaston County Board of Commissioners. My name is Chad Brown and I represent the Riverbend Township as well as the chairman of the board for the County Commission. I would like to welcome our viewers and thank Spectrum Cable and AT&T for making it possible for our citizens in the viewing audience. For our television and live streaming audience, I would like to present your Gaston County Commissioners beginning on my far right.
Alan Fraley, Cherville Township.
Good evening, Ronnie Worley, South Point Township.
Kathy Cloniger, Dallas Township.
Kim Johnson, Gastonia Township.
Bob Hovis, Crowder's Mountain Township.
Good evening, Tom Kigger, Gastonia.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Our first item is the invocation. The invocation will be given tonight by Commissioner Hovis, and the Pledge of Allegiance will be given by Commissioner Johnson. And I also, before we start this, I'd like to welcome one young man, Mr. Grant Austell. If you'll please just stand before real quick. He is here getting a certificate for his upcoming badges that he needs for his service awards that he's getting through his scout stuff. So just wanted to welcome him. So everybody make sure he is welcome tonight.
If you all please bow with me. Gracious Father, as we come before you tonight to take care of the business of the county, there are many, many things that we're thankful for. We're thankful for all of our first responders. We're thankful for a good start of Gaston County and other public schools. Father, we ask that you continue to bless us and give us your knowledge, your wisdom, and your courage. We ask that in Jesus' name. Amen.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we get started tonight, I would like to recognize a few special people who have given of their times and talents throughout life. And Mayor Richard Boyce is with us in attendance. Mayor Jenny Stoltz is in attendance. And also Mayor Larry Simons is tonight in attendance. Thank you. And Matthew May is in attendance as well, in case y'all didn't know who Matthew was.
He didn't hear you.
Agenda tonight, item 1 is postponed zoning matters. Chairman is the presider over the REZ-182 public hearing was duly held on closed on July 23rd, 2024. The request was to rezone parcel 166759 from the R1 single family limited zoning district to the R2 single family zoning moderate zoning district. The planning board, you voted unanimously to approve this request. The chairman has requested the board postpone the consideration request until tonight, and now this has given the applicant additional time to reconsider available options. Ms. Amy Kimbergerloo will be provided a brief recap of the request. Ms. Kimbergerloo.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As stated, REZ-00182 is a general rezoning request from Jonathan Wiley for parcel ID 166759 to rezone the parcel from the R1 single-family limited zoning district to the R2 single-family moderate zoning district. The ordinance allows the board to either 1, approve the request as presented, or 2, to deny the request. If the request is denied, the applicant will have to wait 1 year before submitting an application for a general rezoning to the R2 district. The applicant may also submit a general rezoning request to another district or may apply for a conditional rezoning request with no wait time. The Planning Board heard this request at their July meeting and unanimously recommended approval of the request. Staff finds that the request is consistent with the comprehensive land use plan. Mr. Chairman, this concludes my comments.
Thank you, ma'am. Are there any questions from the board that need to be answered at this time? Seeing none, do I hear a motion to approve this? Motion to approve?
I'll make a motion for a vote.
Motion made by Commissioner Kieger. Is there a second? Seconded by Commissioner Worley. The motion was to approve this zoning rehearing. All in favor? All opposed? It is unanimous, Madam Clerk. In regards to the consistency statement, Mr. Moore, since the request was denied, can you please read the consistency statement, please?
In the general rezoning case, as as recognized by the Chair, the Board of Commissioners finds this is an unreasonable request and not in the public interest, and it is inconsistent with the goals of the comprehensive land use plan, as it will allow for additional commercial uses that are not allowed in the existing zoning district. The future land use of this parcel is rural, which is characterized by plenty of open space, along with farmstead-style housing and agribusiness.
Thank you, sir. Satisfied, Madam Clerk? Thank you. Next item is public hearings. The agenda item number 2 is the commission will take citizens' comments for 4 public hearings. Comments will be taken following each issue. Zoning map change REZ-184, zoning map change REZ-186, text amendment text-012. EDC economic authorize a incentive grant for Project Nexus. Before we begin, let me outline the rules of the hearing. Citizens wishing to make comment should be recognized by the chair and then requested to step to the microphone for their comments. Citizens will state their name and address for the record. Comments are limited tonight to 3 minutes. All questions shall be directed to the chair for response. The chair shall rule on all points of order during the hearing. Do I have a motion to go into public hearing? Motion made by Commissioner Hovis, seconded by Commissioner Johnson. All in favor? We are now in public hearing. The first item is the commission will take citizens' comments for on public hearing zoning map change REZ-184 Callie Hahn applicant. Ms. Jamie Kimberlou, Director of Planning and Zoning, Building and Development Service, will provide a brief overview. Once she has completed her comments, citizens' comments will be taken. Ms. Kimberlou.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. REZ-24-06-17-00184 is a general rezoning request from Callie Hahn for parcel ID 205179 located at 110 Rayfield Drive. The property is a total of .96 acres, and the request is to rezone the parcel from the R1 Single Family Limited Zoning District to the R2 Single Family Moderate Zoning District. The vicinity map shows that the subject site is located in the northwestern portion of the county, just east of Cherville. The orthophoto map shows that the site is currently vacant and that there are a mix of site-built, single-wide, and double-wide homes in the area. The site has been vacant since 2007. The 2000 aerial photo collection shows that there used to be 2 single-wide manufactured homes on the property. By 2005, the home located towards the front of the lot was removed, and by 2007, both structures had been removed. No structures have been placed on the lot since. The zoning map shows that the parcel is zoned R1 and that the end of Rayfield Drive is zoned R2. Staff does want to note, though, that even though the area is zoned R1, there are several existing non-conforming manufactured homes as seen on the orthophoto map. This map shows who all was notified with information about tonight's public hearing. Staff has not received any calls or inquiries about the request. These are the mailing addresses for the parcels shown on the previous slide. The site will be serviced by a private well and septic system, and Rayfield Drive is a public road owned and maintained by NCDOT. The GCL MPO provided their standard letter and shared that there are no funded transportation improvement plans on the STIP, the MTP, or the CTP. The building plan review team and EMS shared they didn't have additional comments for the request as well. The subject property is located in Area 1, which is the rural Gaston, Northwest Gaston Small Area Plan. Key issues for citizens in this area include preservation of open space, road improvements, and better connectivity to other areas of the county and throughout the region, increased job opportunities, and preservation of agriculture by maintaining the rural feel of the community. The future land use designation is rural. This land use is characterized by plenty of open space, farmstead-style housing, and agribusiness and residential homes located on larger lots. Staff finds that the proposed zoning district and use are consistent with the comprehensive land use plan, and the Planning Board unanimously recommended approval of this request at their August meeting. Mr. Chairman, this concludes my presentation.
Thank you, ma'am. Any comments from the applicant at this time? Oh, if you want to comment, if you just come over to this podium, please, ma'am. Thank you. If you'll please state your name and address for the record, and you can just wheel away there.
Yep.
Yes, ma'am, right here where she's at. Thank you.
Yes, I'm Callie Hahn, and my address is 104 Rayfield Drive. Our plan is to have it rezoned so we can put a brand-new double-wide on the lot for our son and future wife. Thank you.
Any citizens wishing to comment at this time on this issue? Seeing none, any questions from the Board of Commissioners? If there are no additional comments, I will declare the public hearing closed. Just to recap, the planning board recommended approval of this vote, 8-0. Now we will vote on the item. Is there a motion to approve this as recommended?
I make the motion to.
Motion made by Commissioner Worley, seconded by Commissioner Kieger. Any discussion? All in favor? It is unanimous, Madam Clerk. Mr. Moore, will you please provide a consistency statement to the clerk for the record? Thank you, sir. The County Commission will now take citizens' comments on public hearing, zoning map change, REZ 186, Rachel Blakeney and Amanda Belmore, applicants. Ms. Peyton Wiggins, Planner 2, Building and Development Service, will provide a brief overview. Once she has completed her comments, citizens' comments will be taken. Ms. Wiggins.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. REZ-24-06-29-0086 is a general rezoning request for parcel ID number 171733, located at 220 Brentwood Lane in Stanley. The applicants are Rachel Blakeney and Amanda Belmore, and the property owner is Edward Blakeney. The applicants are requesting to rezone the 1.74 acre parcel from the R2 Single Family Moderate Zoning District with the U.S. overlay to the R3 Single Family General District with the U.S. overlay. The subject parcel is located north of Ranlow, Spencer Mountain, and Gastonia, east of Dallas, and south of Stanley. The ortho photo shows the site with a residential dwelling and an accessory structure. Note this dwelling has since burned down and has been removed from the site. The parcel is currently zoned R2, Single Family Moderate, and has R2 and R1 around the area. This area of the county is heavily residential and consists of a mixture of stick-built and manufactured housing. This map shows who received notices about tonight's public hearing, and this was the owner's information for those who received the notices. The site is served with a private well and septic system and fronts Brentwood Lane, which is a public road. The subject property is located in Area 3, Riverfront Gaston, of the Comprehensive Land Use Plan. Key issues for citizens in this area include the preservation of open space, road improvements, and better connectivity to other areas of the county and throughout the region, increased job opportunities, and maintaining the rural feel of the area. The future land use designation is rural. This designation exemplifies Gaston County and its existing natural resources throughout the jurisdiction. Residential homes are located on large lots and are set back from the roads they front upon. It's understood that this is the default use designation for Gaston County. The county's TRC reviewed this project and provided no comments at this time, and the GCL MPO stated that there are no planned transportation projects in the immediate vicinity. The planning board heard this request at its July 29th meeting and recommended approval by an 8-0 vote. With that, Mr. Chairman, this concludes my presentation.
Thank you, ma'am. Are there any comments from the applicant at this time or wishes to be made? Please step up to the podium, ma'am.
Good evening. My name is Amanda Belmore. I'm here to discuss 220 Brentwood Lane, Stanley, which belongs to my father, Edward Blakeney. I don't want to go too much in detail what happened, but we suffered a tremendous loss in October of 2023 where we lost the lives of my nephew and my brother, and the house was burned down. My dad has lived on this property for most of his adult life, and we would very much like to put a property back out there that he can live in, where my sister-in-law and my niece can visit, because they can't go out there the way it looks right now. I would like to say we attempted to put a double wide out there, but it's just not cost effective for him. He's 82 and he's on Social Security. So this feels like it's the best option for him. Thank you.
Any other citizens wish to comment at this time? Please step up to the podium, ma'am.
I'm speaking for the neighbor, Joyce Curtis, at 240 Brentwood Lane. She just wanted to point out that there is a good mixture of both double wide and single wides down that entire road.
What was her address again? 240?
Hers is 240. She lives next door.
And her last name?
Curtis.
Thank you. Any other citizens wishing to comment on this matter at this time? Seeing none, any questions from the Board of Commissioners? Seeing none as well, there are no additional comments. I will declare the public hearing closed. Just to recap, the planning board recommended approval 8-0 in a unanimous vote. Is there a motion to approve? Motion made by Commissioner Hovis, seconded by Commissioner Kieger. Any discussion? All in favor? It is unanimous, Madam Clerk. Mr. Moore, if you'll please provide a consistency statement to the clerk, sir.
Yes, sir.
The next item, the county commission will take citizens' comments on public hearing, zoning text amendments, text-012, May Green Properties. Ms. Jamie Kimberlou, the Director of Planning and Zoning, Building Development and Services, will provide a brief overview. Once she has completed her comments, citizens' comments will be taken. Ms. Kimberlou.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Text 24-04-26-00012 is a text amendment request from May Green Properties. The affected chapters of the Unified Development Ordinance are chapters 5 and 13, which are the minor modifications section and the public utilities section of the subdivision ordinance. To provide a quick overview of the case, we have two sections that would be modified if this was approved. I'm kind of going to go backwards and start with section 13.27. If this was approved, it would amend the distance requirement for streetlights within subdivisions. And then we wanted to add in a change to chapter 5, which would allow the administrator to require additional streetlights in cases where we felt additional lighting would be needed for public safety purposes. The first amendment was to chapter 5, so this is the proposed text for this chapter. It would ultimately allow the administrator to require additional streetlights where they felt necessary. However, it wouldn't be allowing the administrator to make the final call. There's wording in there that says the administrator needs to coordinate with public safety officials to review and determine together if the residents of the neighborhood would benefit from additional streetlights on top of what the Chapter 13 change would require. For Chapter 13, we had several versions of the text to share. This was the first text that we proposed, and this is what the applicant originally submitted and asked for. The original request was to increase the distance from 200 feet to 400 feet max in between streetlights in a subdivision. Staff pulled together a team that consisted of our legal team, emergency services, and planning and zoning staff to review the proposal. At this meeting, it was determined that the distance between lights is not really the main concern for emergency vehicles, as they can provide plenty of lighting with the vehicles that they have. The main concern was addressing. So staff added sections 1 and 2, which reiterate our ordinances that mention addressing. Our staff has also added addressing to the checklist for final zoning compliance on new single-family homes. This next slide shows the version of the text that was staff recommended to the planning board. It creates an interval of distances between streetlights based on the proposed lot size within a subdivision. The larger the proposed lots are, the further the streetlights can be placed from one another. Staff also wanted to include additional requirements that would ensure the amenity areas were adequately lit, light fixtures would be decorative in nature, and to reinforce that the county will not accept responsibility for maintaining any streetlights within a subdivision. This next slide shows what the planning board has recommended for approval. They forwarded a recommendation for the staff recommended text, but as amended. The change that they recommended was for the second interval, which would affect lots greater than 1 acre in size. Staff had originally proposed a range of 300 to 500 feet, and the board requested to reduce that range down to 300 feet to 400 feet. The planning board unanimously recommended approval of the request, and staff finds that the amendment supports the goals of the comprehensive land use plan. Mr. Chairman, this concludes my presentation.
Thank you, ma'am. Any citizen wishing to comment at this time on this issue? Please, sir.
He's the applicant.
And Jamie, I wanted to say thank you to your staff. That made it very easy for the board to be able to see. So I want to commend you on that.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Tom Smith, 938 Timber Creek Drive, York, South Carolina. Our family company is May Green Properties. Our niche for the last 35 years has been acreage tracts for people to build a home and get a little elbow room, in a sense. And historically, we've done just across the state line down in York County, but we were fortunate that last April, year and a half ago or so, the representative from the Lowy Estate, which is located on Patrick Road, had driven through our development on Brandon Road around the corner. It was called Henry's Glen. It consists of tracts from 1 to 8 acres in size. And the nature of these developments is really, again, to give people some room. They go in, and if they buy a wooded lot, they build a home, they might will have to have room for the septic and maybe a shop or a pool, but it's really they move out to the country to be in the country. And so when we started the process with Gaston County, we came upon the UDO language about the 200-foot separation minimum standard. Well, our smallest lots are 150 feet wide, so it became impractical. And also, the nature of what we do, people really don't like streetlights, to be honest with you. They just, and today's lights are a little bit brighter than they used to be. They're not the old yellow ones that, so it's just really sort of the nature of our developments. We're not trying to cut any corners or anything like that. It's just purely the atmosphere within the lots. In addition to that, we sell to individuals and local builders. So this is all local plumber, framer, termite. I mean, it's all local. We've never cleared a lot in 35 years. So when folks come in, they pick out their house site. Certainly, we do the prep work as far as the septic evaluation through DHEC, but we're excited about being in Gaston County. Staff's been good to work with, and anyhow, that's the reason we came in front of you. So we appreciate any consideration.
Thank you, sir. Any questions from the Board of Commissioners at this time? Seeing there are no additional comments, I will declare the public hearing closed. Just to recap, the planning board unanimously recommended approval of the text amendment. Is there a motion to approve? Motion made by Commissioner Hovis, seconded by Commissioner Fraley. Any discussion? All in favor? It is unanimous, Madam Clerk. Mr. Moore, if you'll please present the consistency statement at your pleasure, please. The County Commission will now take citizens' comments on public hearing, level 1 or level 2 incentive grant and grant to authorize the economic development agreement for Project Nexus. Ms. Alicia Summy, without her red blazer tonight, EDC Assistant Director, will provide a brief overview. Once she has completed her comments, citizens' comments will be taken. Ms. Summy.
Thank you, Chairman Brown. Project Nexus is a developer looking to construct a 170,000 square foot shell building in Gaston County. This construction is estimated to be about $27 million in capital investment. This will be in Gastonia. The property that they're looking at is on Cox Road. It is a vacant piece of property next to the rail line. It's kind of across from Piedmont Plastic Surgery. Everybody's familiar with that area. We currently have a few shell buildings left in Gaston County that is available anywhere from 10,000 square feet up to 1.2 million square feet, but we're lacking in this area. So if we have a facility of this size, we're going to be able to submit for more RFIs, more prospect attraction here in Gaston County, especially for the single tenant user. Right now, some of the larger shell buildings are multi-tenant. They've already been leased, a portion of them. A lot of the prospects that we're seeing looking to locate here want to be a single tenant user. So this is going to open up more attraction opportunities there, ultimately leading to more job creation and more capital investment here in Gaston County. This is in Gastonia, so we plan to go next week before the city of Gastonia to get this level 2 grant approved as well. And I'm happy to answer any questions you have.
Thank you for your time, ma'am. Any citizens wishing to comment on this venture? Seeing none, any questions from the Board of Commissioners? If there are no additional comments, I will declare the public hearing closed and vote on the item. Thank you. Is there a motion? Motion made by Commissioner Keeger, seconded by Commissioner Hovis. Any discussion? All in favor? It is unanimous, Madam Clerk. That concludes our public hearing for tonight, so thank you for all involved, and thank you for coming out. The next item is approval of the business agenda. Any revisions to the business agenda that wish to be pulled? Seeing none, do I hear a motion to approve the business agenda as presented? Motion made by Commissioner Hovis, seconded by Commissioner Worley. Any discussion? All in favor? It is unanimous, Madam Clerk. Approval of the minutes. You were provided tonight draft minutes for the regular meeting of 7/23, closed session meeting of 7/23, closed session meeting of 8/13. Are there any revisions? Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes as presented? Motion made by Commissioner Worley, seconded by Commissioner Fraley. Any discussion? All in favor? It is unanimous, Madam Clerk. Citizens recognition is part of the next part on the agenda. Citizen recognition, a part of the board's agenda is set aside for the purpose of allowing citizens the opportunity to offer comments and suggestions. This comment period is intended to require the commission or staff not to answer any questions or provide a response. Questions requiring a response shall be answered as soon as possible through the county manager's office. Citizens recognition tonight will be limited to 3 minutes. As I call your name, please step to the podium and state your name and address for the record. The first citizen signed up to speak tonight is Mr. Larry Simons.
My name is Larry Simons. I live in Lowell, North Carolina on Power Drive. Been there forever. But the things that upset me about, you folks have a tough job. I understand that, Chairman. But we have all this fire protection stuff as far as what went before you folks prior, to the night we had the budget meeting. And you hit all these little municipalities with 11.5 cent tax rate for fire tax. We were privileged to cut our taxes from 49 cent to 35.5 cent, and then we get turned around and have a large increase in the fire protection tax, which, we, as a new council, we got a lot to look at in the future. But we want to represent our town just like, you want to represent this county. But you can't do it off the backs of these little towns. I mean, you're taking all this money, and I understand Hunter's here tonight, and maybe Wong, I don't know. I talked with both of them. And they informed me that they were buying us a fire truck. And I told them with our money. But anyway, I'd like for us to get some money back somehow or another because it's just, $930,000 and you're giving us $590,000. That's a hell of a return for you folks, not for us. But, in a small town, that's a lot of money. And I know it's going to take a lot of effort between all of us, and I don't know how it's ever going to play out. But in the meantime, you have the gavel and you have the board, and maybe you can refund some of that money back to some of these, especially us, paying that kind of extra money is a lot of money. And the second thing I want to bring up is when you hire folks in this county, when you hire people, there should be a process, just like Lowell. When we recently had a vacancy in city manager, we appointed an interim city manager, and then we went out and we'll be starting taking applications after Thursday night. But when you hire these people and you pay this astronomical money in these positions where you have people been here, like the young lady in the tax office been here 52 years, makes $22.50 an hour. You bring someone in, you put them in a position in the manager's office and pay them $150,000, $175,000, whatever the salary is. That's a lot of money. And you have people out here that's qualified, and these folks out here in uniform, they're ready to take a bullet for us in the county. Don't ever defund the police department, the sheriff's department. I know there's a lot of controversy going on with the sheriff's department right now. Hell, he ain't even been here a year. Give him an opportunity, but support everyone. And getting back to all this other crap, the teachers, when they first become a school teacher in Gaston County, they make between $32,000 and $34,000 a year, and they have to work a full-time, part-time job. But y'all sit up on your derriere and you do what you got to do. But think about the people that you're hurting in this county. This money needs to be going around to the teachers and things like that. All this extra money she's taking, all this ARPA money where you're going to create another position for the former county manager, $500,000 a year salary. Hell, she didn't take no tax cut and no salary cut. We have to answer all these questions to the public. But I appreciate each and every one of you, and thank you. I know the bell's going off. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next person presenting speaking, Mr. Bill Costarfi.
Thank you. My name is Bill Costarfin. I live at 135 Mockingbird Lane in McCannville, and president of FAR, also located in McCannville. As you all know, over the last several months, our company has been working with the staff at Travel and Tourism and other members of Gaston County staff on the idea of moving Travel and Tourism from the Joe Carpenter Building in Belmont to a newly renovated historic old textile mill in McCannville. And I'm not here tonight to make a presentation to you all. I want to thank you all for giving us the opportunity to make a couple presentations to you, and for you all individually of taking time talk to us. But I know this topic is going to come up later on the agenda, and want you to know that Jess Trombold with FAR and Bob Clay, who is a real estate advisor to our company, we're here to answer any questions that you may have when the subject comes up. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. The next item on the agenda is the approval of the consent agenda. Do I hear a motion to approve the consent agenda with no items pulled tonight? Motion made by Commissioner Hovis, seconded by Commissioner Fraley. Any discussion?
Since they have such a large contingency here tonight, I just wanted to recognize that item Z as in zebra has to do with the Martin Luther King Monument. And there's been a fair amount of discussion regarding ownership in the past, the present, and the future. And we'll be voting to basically take on that piece of property. And I just want to recognize the group that's here, Mr. Boyce, Mr. Matthews, Reverend Pierre, Jenny Stoltz. Thank you for coming out and taking the time. I know it means a lot to you, and you were all involved in this going back when? I don't know, around 2000, 2002, 3, 4, okay. And just again, thank you for all the work and the effort you put into it. Thank you.
Thank you. We were glad to take that off my plate. But I want to thank you and commend you for your community involvement. You guys obviously have been involved in our community for many years and always given forth and not taken. So thank you guys for putting Gaston County first. So we appreciate it. I have a motion by Commissioner Hovis and seconded by Fraley.
Sure.
And Tom had the discussion. Any other discussion? All in favor to approve the consent agenda? It is unanimous, Madam Clerk. The next item is Public Works to approve Dynamo 31 Properties LLC lease the relocation of the travel and tourism offices to authorize the county manager designate to finalize the executed thing. Before we start, do I hear a motion to approve this?
So moved.
I second that motion.
Motion made by Commissioner Keegan, seconded by Commissioner Worley. Any discussion? Mr. Keeger.
Yeah, there's several things that I'd like to bring up regarding this project. I understand that, we're looking at possibly leasing space for travel and tourism, and one of the major reasons is to get more space at our EDC building, the Joe Carpenter building. They can't entertain clients when they come in. It's just too cramped right now. So that, we need to move them eventually, whether it's here or wherever. I know the Travel and Tourism Board has recommended this, and the rent is a little pricey, but let's keep in mind that this is going to be basically the center of the thread trail from High Shoals to the Botanical Garden. They're going to create a 40,000 square foot venue for concerts, dinners, banquets, whatever, people that need something that spacious in the future. There's going to be parks. There's going to be access. And travel and tourism, two of the biggest things we have here in Gaston County, of course, is the mountain and the water. And accessing canoes, boats, whatever, out of the McAdenville area, down the South Fork to the Catawba to Lake Wiley. I'm trying to look 5-10 years down the road. I visualize it somewhat as a little bit smaller downtown Belmont. They're gonna be 50, somewhere in the mid-50 high-end homes that are planned, $800,000 range, I believe. They're gonna be townhouses, they're gonna be apartments. With that are gonna come restaurants, bars, shops, a lot of foot traffic, a parking deck, which unfortunately Belmont doesn't have yet, but they're already gonna have that figured in the planning. So even though it is a little costly, the tax revenue that all these things are gonna generate will more than cover that, a lot more than a lot of the industries that we've given grants to over the years. I sat on this board back in 1999 when we purchased all the property for the the technology park. And we got some criticism from a lot of different groups and individuals spending that much money. Now it's one of the show places of the state. I drove through there the other day after a college board meeting, and now that all the vegetation, trees, everything, it's so beautiful back there, and you wouldn't think it's heavy industrial and manufacturing, but it is. And I just think that even though the cost is a little higher, this is a high rent area, but sometimes you don't want to go cheap if you can get more money in the long run. So I hope we consider the positives, not just what it's going to cost, but what it can bring us in the future. And, you know, we help out a lot of our smaller towns when we have the opportunity. And again, the Travel and Tourism Board, those that we appoint, have recommended this. So I hope we can follow their lead and, you know, be able to approve this in a little bit. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Worley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It would be hard to further what Tom has just said, but I've been down and toured this property and seen all the plans that Commissioner Keeger spoke about, and this is a perfect fit for travel and tourism, in my opinion. It's the hub. It's still Cramerton. There's a lot going on with the Riverkeeper, and they are splitting space in Cramerton and McAdenville. Then Belmont's just to the east. Lowell's right next door. On top of that, the interstate. There's easy transportation in and out for different events that will take place in the future there. And so, you know, McAdenville's always Christmas town to me, but it's also going to be the place that people go to has biking, paddling, dining out, concerts. So I look to see that transition take place, and being a neighbor right over in Cramerton, I just think it's very exciting, and I look forward to supporting this lease agreement. Thank you.
Mr. Hovis.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I was one of the individuals that had the opportunity to hear the conversation in reference to the space in question. I think it's a great opportunity. I have a couple concerns. The length of the lease at this point in time, the size of the space. I understand we really can't subdivide it to a footprint that truly fits our need, because if we did that, then there's not enough left to go to somebody else. So it's 4,000 or nothing. That's a little more than what we need, from what I understand. The cost of the upfit being totally borne by us for this lease period, and the fact that this venue and these other improvements are not yet there. And I know you're working on having it there, and I applaud your efforts. I think it's a great development plan. I was very impressed by what we heard that day that we were there. But I think timing for me is a question mark. Maybe if it was a 5-year lease, and then within 5 years you're going to have the other portions of the property developed as plans, and you probably will do that. I haven't heard a finite date on the parking deck and the other part of the venue. But those are the questions that I've had, and I haven't talked to you individually because I wanted my conversation to be heard by the rest of the board as they vote and discuss this, because we're looking at, you know, longer term things, and that's not to say that we couldn't come back at some other point in time with a different agreement. But at this point in time, in the fashion that I've seen it, I think it's a little too rich for our blood. And we've already been criticized once tonight about spending money we don't have, which I think is a wrong criticism. But at the same time, and you're correct, Travel and Tourism has voted, and it's their budget, and they know what they can do with their monies. But at the same time, it's coming from our taxpayers and our occupancy tax, and we have to look at that from our purview as overseeing those other functions of the county. So at this point in time, I'm hesitant to be a proponent for that. Just explaining where I am. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I'll close. Like I said, I met with Bill last week for a length of time to discuss this, and I think there was many different tangibles that came out, so thank you for meeting. I think the biggest tangible is how we could help support that area and how we could support other projects that you have through different means. I don't see this proposal. I went to economic development. I've spoken with people out there. Obviously, with the closure of the, I guess you'd call that the viewing room or whatever, when you first walk in, now that that's been made a boardroom, I don't really see the need for 4 people to have 4,000 square feet. I think Michael made that same comment to you guys, that 4,000 square feet is just out of the realm for that because of that. I think also it hamstrings our new manager for some ideas that he has on some ideas that I think would be very similar. The lease being 10 years is another, and I'm for the project for what you guys, and I want to support you any way I can. The problem I have is 10 years and a lease project when we just purchased downtown, a bottom floor and a building beside it. We could easily find space that we already have. I'm just against leasing at a long term when we could end up paying and buying a building and land somewhere that we could put the actual, and we own something. That's where I have the issue. So I would rather see us look for some way to support in a different mean, whether it be helping you guys on somebody to be a tenant there, but not in this particular fashion, just because obviously it's county government and what that happens. So those are mine, but I do appreciate all my fellow board members for going out and talking and looking this over. I take a motion on this. The motion was made by Commissioner Keeger, seconded by Commissioner Worley. The discussion is closed now. I'll now call for all in favor. All, I just lost my word. Opposed? It is 5-2, Madam Clerk. No items were pulled from tonight's agenda. The items, no added appointments. Commissioner Fraley.
I have one, Mr. Chairman. A new appointment to Travel and Tourism Board, Mr. Scott Bean.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Keeger. All in favor? It is unanimous, Madam Clerk. Mr. Worley.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have one for the Juvenile Crime Prevention Council. Application was received from Ms. Kathy Hart, and I'll make that in a motion.
Seconded by Commissioner Hovis. All in favor? It is unanimous, Madam Clerk. Commissioner Conger.
I have one as well for the Transportation Advisory Board and the application from Kevin Meyer.
I'll second that. All in favor? It is unanimous, Madam Clerk. Commissioner Johnson.
I have no appointments at this time.
Commissioner Hovis.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have 2 tonight, an application for the Workforce Development Board from Scott Carter and the Community Child Protective Team, application received from Brandon Bruton.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Keeger. All in favor? It is unanimous, Madam Clerk. Commissioner Keeger.
None tonight.
I have one here. I just need to ask about a chair appointment for Commissioner Worley, Central Carolina Council of Government. He's already on there, correct? His term expires, the term ended on the 23rd. Do I need to redo that, or it was just sitting here? I didn't know if it was part of it. Didn't have anything read on it, so I assume you're still there already, just by. Oh, okay. It said. Yeah, I think this was, I'll pass that down to him so you can look at it. It wouldn't. The next one is I had a Council on Aging appointment from Melissa Hansel.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Keeger. All in favor? It is unanimous, Madam Clerk. I had some full board appointments for all you folks. Chair of a Board of Adjustments was be made for the ETJ representation for Mr. Matt Mooney. Seconded by Commissioner Fraley. All in favor? Planning Board, Mr. Matt Mooney for the Charitable Council. Motion made by Commissioner Fraley,
Second.
or seconded by, motion is seconded by Commissioner Keegan. All in favor? It is unanimous, Madam Clerk. The next one was the Board of Adjustments for
Same
Mr. Mark Mooney.
Oh, that's what it was. Different person.
Seconded by Commissioner Fraley. All in favor? The next one is the recommendation for the Planning Board by Mark Mooney. From Commissioner Fraley as well for the City of Cherub. All in favor? It is unanimous, Madam Clerk. The last one is Planning Board received an application from Bessie Harvey. This was a recommendation coming from Dr. Hushard's replacement for the planning board.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Hovis. All in favor? It is unanimous, Madam Clerk. That committee reports. Commissioner Fraley.
None, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Worley.
No report.
Commissioner Cloninger.
No reports.
Commissioner Johnson.
No reports.
Commissioner Hovis.
I have none, sir.
Commissioner Kieger.
I just mentioned that at the state-county conference, I brought Mr. Fraley his 20-year pin back, and he got it on. And I don't know if the manager brought the statistics. Okay, he'll take care of that in his report. Thank you.
Thank you. Also, we received, you want to talk about it, Commissioner Hovis? We received the award for, I forget how you pronounce what we won the award for.
Dale. It's the Dale program.
And so we received that award on behalf of the Dell people, and, not D-E-L-L, D-A, but we did that on behalf of the police, so thank you for that. County Manager's report.
Yes, sir, I'll be brief. Really quickly, as Commissioner Kieger mentioned at the conference, we received notice from the North Carolina Debt Set-Off Program that we have again first in the state in the amount of money that we've been able to collect through this program. And since its inception in 2002, we have collected over $17 million, which leads the state in terms of counties and municipalities. And the really good news with this is it's really hard work by our staff to make sure that we're collecting debt that's owed to the county, and that allows us to accomplish more and achieve more projects and everything else. And so that's a testament to our staff and all their hard work.
Could I add something?
Yes, sir.
To put that in perspective, number one for Gaston County, I don't know what our population is exactly now, about 250,000, give or take, 265. Mecklenburg County with their millions, Wake County, Guilford County, we blew them out of the water in the amount of debt that we're collecting. And I mean, that's something our staff should be very proud of.
80th and 63rd.
And those were all improvements as well. Before we move on, I'd like to recognize Commissioner Kieger. He also had recognition up there. Wasn't one of the oldest, but it was one of the, what's the word they used, Tom?
Experienced.
I thought it was the oldest commissioner in North Carolina, but Commissioner Kieger celebrated how many years, Tom? 24? 26 years as a county commissioner. He's given that of his unselfishly time and service, so I wanted to commend Tom. I give Tom a hard time, but he does a lot for this community, and so thank you for your commitment to Gaston County, Tom, and seeing some pictures of you at Belmont Abbey I'm not proud of, so please keep those to yourself. County Attorney's report.
No report, Mr.
That's what I like to hear, sir. Any other matters need to come before the board at this time? Yep.
One observation, Mr. Chair. Mr. Kieger, during the conference, has become a trendsetter of such over those 26 years. Our executive director of the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners attended our event that was held towards the end, and he was in Tom Kieger attire. He was in shorts and tennis shoes. I've never seen Kevin Leonard in shorts and tennis shoes, but he said Tom was his inspiration. So
he should have been.
Thank you, Tom, for being a
Motion to adjourn.
well, no, it's a trend. It's a fact.
I would like to say that, but also Commissioner Johnson was the only one that left with injury due to the kicking of her bed. I just want to point that out. Anyway, I'd like to point out that the board voted tonight to combine the September work session and the regular meeting to be held Thursday, September the 19th. Mark that on your calendars, please.
Thank you.
This concludes our meeting for tonight. Our next work session and regular meeting on Thursday, September the 19th, here in the Harley B. Gaston Public Forum Courthouse. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, please refer to those to Miss Donna S. Buff, 704-866-3196. Good night, movie stars.